I'm Christelle Barbeau. I build ideas, break rules, and push trends. Not for attention, but to open the road for other women. This Women's Month, we meet the women who are rewriting the script in male-dominated industries. Innovators, leaders, fighters. Women with the vision and the relentless drive to make a difference. Their stories aren't just inspiring, they're a roadmap for what's possible. Presented in partnership with BMW Mhlanga, where ambition meets performance, and together we are driving change. So today we with Takalani Sesame.
Well, it's Takalani Netshipale, and you can call me Sesame whenever you want. It's okay. I get it.
I hear you, but like that was the go-to show. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's even in line with what you doing. It's
Yeah.
Takalani Sesame Streets, and we got you out here as a whole civil engineer. I mean, how much more? You know?
Yeah.
There's meaning to our names.
There is.
You know what I'm saying?
We lost people.
So, but devs, you know what I'm saying? But like, did you always want to be that? Like, I mean, growing up as a little girl, you always envision yourself building things, fixing things, designing things, like not things, civil things, like infrastructure.
No, actually, I was more of like an arty person. I mean, you know how girls are. They buy you
Even, I mean, look at you, girl. I cheer her.
so they will buy you dolls. And so what I used to do is dress up dolls, and take them to parties.
I would have thought that you had Legos and you were building things.
Not even. I think I really, because I'm more of like an artsy playful. So apart from dressing up the dolls, I would sketch or paint. I'd also write a bit of poetry. So I was like your active talent, all the arty stuff. But then at some point I decided, maybe I want to become a graphics designer. And I told my dad I want to become the graphic designer. And he's like, check this how much they earn.
Yeah. And not in South Africa. Not in South Africa. No.
And then I checked it. I'm like, okay, maybe not. Then I started falling in love with buildings and actually sketching and taking up the subject. What's this like EGD? And then I decided, okay, maybe architecture is me. So I was riding around thinking I'm going to do architecture. And someone came to me and said, look, there's also civil engineering. It's like architecture, but you now have to do the calculation for the actual building.
The numbers grow.
The numbers.
They're throwing in the numbers there.
And I'm like, that's a few numbers. That's not what I heard. So I ended up applying for both of them until I had to do the entry exam for architecture. Then I
You feel it's smarter than engineering.
the entry exam. I literally had to sketch my day-to-day routes. And I'm like, why? Yeah, and
Like flats or 3D?
flats. Like you had to paint a picture of who you are, what you feel, what you do. And I was like, this is hard. I'm gonna go with numbers. And so I ended up going with the buildings and numbers, and I've never left that.
Wow. And I mean, obviously, you've been in a space for like a minute. Like, what's it, over 7 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that. Almost a decade, girl, pulling it.
Almost.
But I mean, designing buildings and stuff like that. Obviously, now we're in a space where we have to look out for our communities. And obviously, the government is now pumping into like RDP houses and, looking at different infrastructures and how. I mean, you're the reason why we got one ways in Joburg. I'm still going to hold you accountable to this. What is up with that?
It's actually about it being a city or a town.
Okay.
So the reason why they've decided to make it one way is for the ease of traffic. So there's like these small little parking spots in town. Imagine if now you have to do a U-turn on the same road and there's traffic and it's going in Z direction.
I hear you. I mean, it's valid. But back to my point is, as a female, what would your feminine touch be on an RDP house?
Oh, look, for me, first of all, 3 bedrooms, okay?
Your girl is going big. You got hope, yeah.
look at two. What am I gonna do with two bedrooms? No, I mean already the one bedroom. You have to share it with someone else, and the other one you have a kid. I want a dressing room. Okay, but
A whole dressing room. A whole dressing room in an RDP house.
It's
Fine.
now
I hear you.
broadcast room. Or
I hear you.
yeah,
I hear you. But like, as in, I'm gonna say it again, a civil engineer, because that title carries so much weight as a female as well. Being that, I don't want to say male dominated space, but it is what it is. And there's nothing, I can't say that there's nothing that you can change, but you've been in it for more than 7 years now. What has been your experience dealing with that male stamp of approval? You know what I'm saying? And how have you worked through or broken those barriers where your word goes?
yeah. Look, first of all, I think the biggest thing is your capability. So your undergraduate qualification is all you need.
Get those papers to get the
Get
paper.
those papers. You got the paper, you qualified. You can do it. So I think sometimes we hide behind what we're being told or even some of the thoughts that we have. But if you always remember that you worked hard to get that qualification, then it gives you a sense of confidence to continue pursuing certain parts of your work. But mostly, I think how I've dealt with actually tackling the male dominated of this space is by also being confident and also what they now call seeking male allies.
Okay.
So when you create and develop male allies, you find a specific male in the office that you feel that you can relate to, but they also are in a position where they can assist you and they have something of power.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, be a teacher's correct or anything like that, but get to understand them and work with them to understand how let me not say how males it, but how to make it in that certain space.
I hear you.
And you continue climbing up the ladder in that format. But you need to put yourself
Out there. Yeah, because a lot of what you're saying is more, you're saying get the papers, it's more theory based, and then when you get into the field, being practical within that office space or going outside and doing the measurements. I mean, do you take the measuring tape and do the things,
No.
like this per? But I mean, as that's what I'm trying to say is that like, there's a lot of practical stuff as a woman that you have to do, that you have to consider, how you dress, how you this, how you that, because sometimes some people would not necessarily take you that serious compared to how they would take a male that is more assertive or more serious in their job or whatever the case might be. So what you say is so valid. You have to have that self-confidence to know, what, this is what I'm going with, this is what I'm trying to do, and drive with it.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. And I mean, through your confidence, you've achieved so much.
Thank you.
And don't just say that thank you with so calmly. There's so much that you've achieved through being confident and the steps that you've taken in order to achieve those things. Do you want to like maybe share your achievements with me, like more? You know what I'm saying? Because that's something to brag about. That's not just something that you put on your CV and list it. That is something that I feel like you should be vocal about, because it's gonna inspire, it's gonna motivate, it's gonna encourage the next female, the next student, or whatever the case might be, wherever that person finds himself currently in their life. Once they see and hear your story, and what you've achieved through it, I believe, I was inspired. Like, look at you doing the things that need to be done and driving change through the choices that you've made and the decisions you've taken, and like stood with it. You didn't allow circumstances or men to waver in, or like wrestle the ground under your feet. You literally stood firm and you've achieved, and I believe you're still gonna achieve. What is some of those achievements?
Whoa, okay.
For those who don't know you.
Okay.
For those who don't know you, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, no, I'll start with this one. So I am one of the top 200 unsung heroes from Sunday World. her. So speech and Lee's cake for
Oh, how did I say it now? Clack it.
oh, that's
Clack it.
yes, clap it.
Clack it.
And then and then I recently was awarded the SAICE Presidential Award. So that goes to one person.
Okay.
Every year. Only one. There's nothing else. And I got that award last year. And
Not wearing nothing.
nothing. It's yours. It's yours.
Like
so that's
mine.
it's mine. So that really was huge for me, especially for that reason that it's like the president of SAICE sees your effort and sees how much you've contributed, and they say, you know what, I'm giving sword.
Wow.
That was quite a big moment actually. And I also then was the Rising Star Award recipient for the Big Five Construct South Africa. So Big Five Constructors, where a lot of your consulting and contractor companies come together and they exhibit and there's talks, a whole lot of things that are happening there. And then before that, I also then was the graduate engineer of the year in 2022. And yeah, in between, I've been a finalist for quite a number of awards as gender mainstreaming, woman in transport. Yeah, there's quite a number of recognitions that I do have. And I think these recognitions really helped build me because it really defined who I am in terms of what I'm passionate about as well. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, do you even get anything out of it?" And I was like, "No, but I'm doing it because
It shapes you.
it
It
shapes
shapes
me."
you, and it also it puts you in a different direction, or in terms of network. Because once you've achieved something and you get into that pool of network that is within that space,
Yeah,
you you feel different, you see yourself differently, and it's like a growing confidence thing, you know. So I believe, yeah, you definitely made a difference in those avenues of your life, and I'm so proud of you, genuinely. And with saying that, is there any other like with what you've achieved, do you utilize that in a space to motivate, to encourage, to what volunteering stuff do you do aside from just getting all these accolades? I mean, the ladder, you're climbing up. Is there any time in the ladder where you look down and you're like, I'm putting my hand out to pull you up,
yeah.
you know?
No, definitely. Look, and I'll start with the elder. When I say elderly, I mean like people that are almost my age. Am I elderly? And then I'll go all the way.
That's like gods. Hey, you ready? We're ready.
We are ready. So, look, I'll start with the people that I work with. So, young engineers and graduates. So I volunteer in what they call Future Leaders Panel. So it's a committee where we take care of breed, and that's from 18 to 35. And we take care of them in terms of exposure to the network of engineers, exposure to the industry, understanding how to grow, how to become a professional engineer, and literally climbing up the ranks. And I do that voluntarily because I feel that most of us had to fight through varsity.
Exactly. We're not edified on this practical stuff.
We're not. We literally just go through it and we're like, oh, got my qualification. And then you get into the industry, you don't know what to do with it.
100%.
And then I also then do also assist some of the students back and feed them out because that's where I'm based. And lastly, then I also motivate the young kids, the scholars that are in high school. And it's important because I think if I look at my foundation, I had people that were rooting for me and they gave me a confidence to say, choose whatever you want. But it's not the case in some of the community.
You need guidance.
You need guidance, and you also need to be reminded that you can achieve anything. So if you're not able to have models or role models close by that can show you that it's achievable, it becomes challenging. So I invest my time in speaking to young girls and showing them you can be an engineer, you can be a pilot, you can be an astronaut, you can do anything.
Can literally be anything you put your mind to, like your and it's so hard because I mean, as a female, there's some things that are just so limiting, you know. It's just like your goal is to get married, pock some kids, and then make supper for your husband. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of, not everyone is forward thinking. So like when you have people coming in to motivate and encourage, it's more of a thing like there is light. You don't have to keep scrolling. Get up and walk, my girl. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah. But in terms of your engineering experience,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you feel like there should be, how can I say, more development in it? Like attention development when it comes to our infrastructure?
Mhm.
Or are you happy with our current plan?
Look, because we're a developing country.
Definitely.
And
I mean, everything's ever growing. We can't always be satisfied.
We
But
can't.
I mean,
And even if you are, then the goalpost keeps on moving.
yes.
But I think honestly, South Africa is a developing country, so we do have our hotspots, and I call them hotspots because that's where you will find these high-rise buildings. You have Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town. But because we are a developing country, we've seen that we need to prioritize supporting those that are less privileged, and there's quite a number of people that are unemployed and are living in poverty in South Africa. So most of our investment goes into water, making sure they have access to water, making sure they have access to basic sanitation, and housing, and also be able to alleviate them from any natural disasters that do happen. So in terms of the standards, oh, definitely it would be nice to have like a Burj Khalifa building somewhere, especially in Durban, we've got an ocean. We could make it look amazing. Definitely. So, but I think we still need to continue improving, and I think the perception also needs to lie with contractors as well as consultants. We need to think beyond just getting profit on a specific project. We need to think about how is this going to look in the next so many 100 years? How is this going to look to someone's child, your children's children? So is it going to be sustainable? Is it going to be competitive with what's actually happening in the world? I do feel that we need to be.
I totally agree with your statement because, like, at the end of the day, we can't, like, things have changed over the years. I mean, we had rigid. Now things are becoming more oval, circle, rounded, spherish. So, I mean, design itself, do you feel like the exterior or the facade of a building should match what is actually happening within the building? So the design itself of the building, I'm asking the question of like the exterior of a building, should it match what is happening within the building?
Look, I think my answer to that is it's a yes and no, right? When I say yes, I mean if you think of a fancy building and it's having lobster and oysters, you definitely want it to be fancy up.
Yeah.
But if you think of public infrastructure, so your clinics and your hospitals, I mean, you've got patients that are sickly, that need assistance. You don't want the buildings to look sickly and sad, Actually, our chief director, Mr. Tava, actually said that we want our patients to come as they are and feel that they need to get better. Because the building looks better. It's like, I'm going to be sick in this place. Look, places are nice.
Yeah.
It actually motivates them, and we need to contribute to their healing. We shouldn't bring in problems they're looking up and the ceiling is about to fall.
I mean, your environment affects you. It
does.
really genuinely does affect you. And like, that's another thing. Because of like all the communities, for example, that you get involved in. I mean, you're advocate for STEM, right? And okay, STEM, do you want to share a bit about STEM? Because I mean, as I said, the environments affect us and it contributes to the way we think, it contributes to the way we act, it contributes to the way we react to certain things, to people, to, how we carry ourselves outside when we leave those negative energies, those negative spaces. Um, as a STEM advocate, what is it that you do to make the girls feel better, do better, and become better?
Look, so what we do, like in terms of being a sim advocate, it's to advocate for the need for women to be, or girls to be more involved in what we call problem solving. So I'd like to see STEM as a problem solver because you have science, you've got technology, you've got engineering and mathematics, and when they come together, they literally solve the problem. So when we advocate for STEM, we say, look, come in as a scientist, right? You'll be getting cures to diseases. You'll come in as a doctor. Come in as a technologist, to using technology to make life simpler. And engineering then looks at a combination of using science and technology to solve problems in such a way that it's sustainable for the future and it can stay forever. And then you've got mathematics then is it's the core of all of it to say, how do you derive to a point where you know what you're doing and you know that it'll solve a problem. So when we do STEM advocates, and I say we because I know there's many young women, older women that are also doing it. But when I do it, I do it because I want to show them that they might be in a situation, they might have certain senses that they're living under. So this is underserved or underprivileged community. There's a problem, yes, but you don't have to be a problem, and you can actually be a part of the solution.
Sure.
Problem.
Wow.
And by motivating them to see it in that light, it makes it clear. So
It's a mind shift.
it's a mind shift. And some of the things that we do is we host summits where for the 3 days we expose them to all things science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and we literally give them skills here and there. Then we say, okay, put them all together, now develop a solution. And when you look at it from far, it looks like you're asking them to like build something crazy. But when you start looking at the fact that they have to consider the costs of the solution, what technologies am I going to use? How do I engineer it? What's the science that I need?
And you get to see the way they think because they're more hands-on, because they're so used to like the school environment or being at home, whatever. So now, especially like working with brands or people like you, they get to see like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, or it opens up their minds. And I mean, the youth is our future. We have to invest in them. We really, really have to invest in them. And so I'm really proud and I'm really honored to hear your story, to hear how you're making change, to hear how you're using your profile as a platform to inspire the youth. I mean, mainly the girls, and we are gonna have women who are gonna make a difference through your channels, and yeah, make those steps so that they can follow in those footsteps. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me info.
It's only been my pleasure.
And mine as well. I think just reliving my upbringing and the answer to the why.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? It always comes up in different forms, and it's also just being shaped from what I also still go see.
Yeah.
Underneath, yeah.
So you've obviously achieved so much. Is there one specific thing or one specific building or one specific, there has to be that one goal where you're like,
Yeah.
I want to. That is it. That is it. What is that one thing that you would love to achieve or that would make your heart jump?
Look, for me, and I know when that invitation comes, I'll be like, yep, there we go. International invitation to provide my strategic inputs on a specialty in my field. So be it water, be it road.
Are you talking panel discussion or hands-on development?
Hand-on development. Someone from the USA is calling me. We heard that you can do this. We need you tomorrow. We need when.
Yeah.
You need a helicopter? We'll get it there.
Done.
You jump into the helicopter and you get there and you face this big problem and they say, here's the team, all the best. That's when I'll know I've definitely made my mark. And not because I just want to be out there, but I feel that as engineers, we specialize in certain things. And even as South African engineers, our skills are so diverse. And they contribute so much. Yes, we are still confined to what we're doing in South Africa.
But a lot inspire us. And we have such a rich country. We do. Such a rich country.
So so to be called out like that, to say come and picked in another place, ultimate goal.
It's gonna happen. And then we're gonna replay this and we were like, Takalani says I'm kidding. But steps. It's definitely gonna happen. And I believe you're not even gonna be micromanaged. I pray that upon your life. I pray that you're gonna run that budget and it's gonna be successful. And then I'm gonna get that invite to be like, your hotel's booked, pull up. This is my building. I'm cutting the ribbon now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks so much.